Well, hello and welcome to another Tyrrell's Classic Workshop, and a very strange curveball this. This is literally not intended, it's just the way things have happened. Many people will say, young, old, in between, high, small, wide, narrow, whatever, will say that the car chase from Bullitt, the movie, the Steve McQueen movie from 1968, was one of the most iconic car chases ever. It's up there with the French Connection, loads of car, obviously Ronin had some fantastic car chases in it as well, the John Frankenheimer film from the 90s, even though they dubbed some of the wrong engine sounds on the wrong cars, but they just about get through in my book because the rest of the movie is so great. But Bullitt from 1968 is still regarded as one of the most fantastic car chases ever. Yes, you can drive a bus through some of the mistakes in it and some of the continuity errors and things like that, but nevertheless, it was a wonderful, wonderful chase. And why am I saying all this? Because we have a dark green, a Highland green Mustang and a black Dodge Charger in at the same time in the workshop. Obviously, these are not our cars, they're customers' cars, so we have to be careful with them, but we can still road test them, can't we? We've got the owner's permission. We won't be going down 1 in 3 hills, doing 90-degree power slides or anything like that, but we just thought it would be fun to remake a little bit of Bullitt, 21st century style on British roads. What can possibly go wrong? So the Mustang has just had a load of work done on it. This is in for a load of work as well. I've never ever worked on or driven a Dodge Charger. This is new territory for me. What I can't get over, I mean, they are amazing cars, particularly in black. They look oh so menacing. They really do. But I can't get over the size of this thing. It's enormous. And just to put, this was considered a mid-size American car in 1968. Mid-size. To put this into context, a Rolls-Royce Silver Shadow, and Rolls-Royce sent a huge amount of their Silver Shadows in the late 60s and early 70s to the US. It was their biggest export market. A Rolls-Royce Silver Shadow was just on 6 feet wide, and it was just under 17 feet long. And that was a deliberate policy on Rolls-Royces because a 17-foot long car was cheaper to export by container or ship across the sea than a 17-foot 1-inch car. So that's why Rolls-Royce deliberately, they actually had 2 different lengths of nose. I'm going off subject here, but nothing new there. And that was a deliberate strategy by Rolls-Royce to manage the size of the container. And again, the Rolls-Royce Silver Shadow, or Bentley T-Series, was considered a mid-size car. This was what was called one of the best cars in the world at the time. So it was cheaper, much cheaper, to transport a 17-foot long car or under than a 17-foot and 1-inch car. So that's why Rolls-Royce built it that way. Then we have this beast, which is 17.5 foot long, so it's like 6 inches longer than a Rolls-Royce Silver Shadow, and it's almost 6 inches wider. This thing's huge, and this is a mid-size American car. I mean, it's the way they used space. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the look of the Dodge Charger. It looks as though it's about to put some brass knuckles on and hit you, even just sat here in the workshop, in the middle of the workshop floor. But there's so much space around this car. You're driving around a lot of fresh air, really. So the packaging is mind-bending. The front end, for example, you could actually lose a foot off the front end of this car and not even notice it. There's hardly anything in there. It's all enormous, 6.5 feet wide. I mean, the likes of a Lamborghini Countach in the 80s or a Ferrari Testarossa wasn't quite that wide. It wasn't far off it, and they were very wide cars. If you wanted to get this in a trailer, you'd struggle, really, without an extra L trailer. But we love it anyway. The cars that were used, I think there were 3 apparently, according to a little bit of internet research, 3 Chargers used in Bullitt. One was the 383 CID, or what's that in old speak, about 6.2 litres, and V8 engine, which this car has actually got. Then they had the RT, which was the 375 horsepower daddy of the range. And apparently in the movie, they used the 380, the small engine car for the chasing and the big engine car for the camera work. So go figure. But anyway, of course, they could dub whatever they liked on it as well in terms of V8s with 23 speed gearboxes, as seemed to have in the movie. But it was, I don't want to take away from the film, it was great. This is a thing of interest to me because, as I say, we've never had one in before. There are plenty of people around who can fix American cars, but obviously it works for us and it works for the customers. So, but the chances of having both here at the same time are tiny. So yeah, we look forward to taking this and the Mustang out for a bit of mischief on the road. Of course, all very legal, have to say that. But yeah, the 1968 Dodge Charger, an absolute beast. Yeah, so here we have an interesting example of space utilization, Dodge Charger wise. Look at that. You've got the headlamps behind these rotating grills. Look how far back the radiator is, and all this is basically open space. So, I mean, you know, could the car be shortened by nearly a foot easily? Probably. But it would spoil the looks, it would spoil the fun, it would spoil the vibe. But yeah, just it's an amazing way to make cars, and obviously very successful, fabulous cars, but bit different. Well, I have never driven in my 40 plus years of fixing cars. I've driven lots of American cars, but I have never driven a Dodge Charger, as the brakes nearly put me through the windscreen. This is a whole new experience. This thing is huge. I'm just warming it up gently at the moment, as ever. You can tell it wants to go. Very strange gear change, admittedly. This is certainly different. Oh, dear me. It has got a 4-speed gearbox. Good. I'm sure, like a lot of American, dare I say, muscle-ish cars, I'm not sure whether this is a muscle car or not, probably, they start to come alive once you mash the throttle, and it's just starting to think about coming alive. But oof, I think it's fair to say I prefer the exterior to the interior on this, styling wise. But that's no bad thing, because the exterior is amazing. It is such an interesting and menacing looking car, this. I'm hoping all will be forgiven once we open this car up. We've done quite a lot of work on this. Well, you can't complain about that. Absolutely amazing. What a glorious noise. You can't beat an American V8 for V8-ness. It's so interesting. As you push the throttle down, this happens on American cars, it just grows and grows and grows. You push the throttle down a quarter of a way and you get a shove of torque. You push it down halfway, you get another shove of torque, and then you push it down all the way and you get a massive shove of torque. It's just a great feeling, the throttle response on these cars. But this car is a handful. Whoa, particularly left-hand drive on UK roads. It's got character in spadefuls. I do like it. Whoa. Very different driving experience, this. What amazes me about this is how different it feels to a Mustang. Similar genre of car from a similar period of time for I guess, an identical market, really. They were probably both chasing the same buyers, but you were either a Chrysler, GM or a Ford person, I guess. But this is so different from a Mustang. It's bigger for a start. I mean, the noise is fantastic, but yeah, talking of which, it comes alive, as I suspected, when you mash the throttle. and wake those horses up, the whole thing just starts to become of a piece. But on UK roads, on British roads, this is a handful. In its home country, I'm sure it's more at home, but gotta love this car. Different, yes. Interesting, yes. Thrilling, yes. Fun, bags of it, sir. Gear change is a bit challenging. To drive one of these around San Francisco fast sideways, I take my hat off to you, sir. This is loads of fun. What do you want in a classic car? Fun, miles per mile, probably a mile per gallon the way I'm driving it. Oh. An interesting, amazing car. If only there was a Ford Mustang in dark green around to recreate some scenes from Bullitt. Wouldn't that be just amazing? Well, here we are. We're just warming the car through. I've driven quite a few Mustangs over the last few weeks. One of the sanctioned gone in 60 seconds cars, we had that on. There's such good value for money for what you get. I mean, American cars in the UK are just ridiculously cheap for what they are. Yeah, just very, very sensibly priced.